This week on Par 59, we head out to the Greenbrier Resort to discuss their new partnership with True Spec Golf. We're going to kick things off with two teams that have that potential in our Cats Cantor Stone Street and Buckner Game of the Week. We finally made it to day 5 here Friday at the Big Atlantic Classic, and that obviously means boys AAA action. I'm here at Fletcher Arrett Stadium, where tonight the 5-4 Summers County Bobcats are coming in to take on the 6-3 Fayetteville Pirates, and I think that this is a must-win for both teams. But here on the Stonehaven course at Glade Springs, these are referred to as waste bunkers. They're made up of black crushed limestone. And if you get stuck in one of these, your round could get a lot more difficult. Welcome everybody out to the Old White TPC. I'm joined by Eric Jenkins, the caddy master here at the Greenbrier, and we are on the first hole to begin our hole-by-hole preview. And Eric, this is the first hole. Always a little bit of jitters when you're up on the first tee, but this is a beautiful tee shot and a nice little par 4 for the golfers.
Absolutely. So,
a local basketball coach dedicated his life to educating student athletes both on the court and in the classroom, and now a group of community members want to remember him in a special way, but they're having trouble receiving support from the Board of Education. Take a look.
One of the last games he helped me with, and a game from Susan G. Komen Foundation, asked me, he said he would love to have his name on a court before he passed away.
Coach Don Knuckles spent decades as an educator, principal, and basketball coach at Mullins High School from the 1960s through the 1990s, when the school eventually became Mullins Middle School.
What he did for this school, the players that played for him, this community on this basketball court, through this basketball court, I mean, it's unbelievable. 16 years, 5 state championships, a state runner-up, and if it weren't for his health issues, I'm sure he'd have coached many more years and would have won many more state championships.
But Coach Knuckles did more than just raise banners in the gym. He raised students in the classroom.
He said that the biggest compliment that he could get, and you can ask anybody that ever knew him, was that he was a good teacher. That was the biggest compliment that he could ever get. You know, not what he did on the floor here, not anywhere else, not even as a principal. He just wanted to be a good teacher, and he was.
So Nathan England, Herbie Brooks, and a few other community members approached the Wyoming County Board of Education earlier this month. They asked to start a project to name the basketball court at what is now Mullins Middle School after Coach Don Knuckles. They even had a petition with more than 1,500 signatures, but the board did not even vote on the proposal, and it was dismissed.
And so for there to be a vote, there actually has to be a motion placed by a board member on the floor, so to speak. There was no motion made.
England mentioned during the board meeting that this project would be of no cost to the school and supplies would be donated to make this happen. But the board, including Superintendent Deirdre Klein, had more concerns than just finances.
In order to do it right and well and consistently, you would probably end up getting multiple requests to name multiple facilities or situations after iconic individuals. And if you do that right and well and fair, it's a process that would take time and resources away from service to children.
According to the minutes of the Board of Education meeting that took place on October 7th, Klein said school property should not be named after anyone, and school facilities should be named after the communities that they represent.
There are people that have achieved more than other people, and they should be honored for it.
The lack of action on the board's part had absolutely nothing to do with Don Knuckles as a coach or the educator that he was. Those accomplishments speak for themselves. The board's lack of action really had more to do with the future and present tense of our service to children and the fact that they thought these resources would be better utilized in other ways.
Ultimately, the board made no motion to vote on this matter, but that does not mean that England and the rest of the community in favor of this issue can't go back to the board and present the argument again. Klein says that they are welcome to do that, and if it receives even one motion from the 5 board members, it will then go to a vote.
I think it's something that needs to be done. You know, he had the biggest impact on Wyoming County basketball ever.
We're going to begin tonight in Wyoming County with our Cats Cantor Stone Street and Buckner Game of the Week. It's the 7-2 Wyoming East Warriors looking to lock up a spot in the Class AA state playoffs, hosting the 4-5 Liberty Raiders. We'll begin in the first quarter. East with the ball. The give goes to Caleb Bauer. He finds a lane and gets to the sidelines, and then it becomes a foot race, and Bauer outruns the Raiders defense for a 65-yard score. The Warriors take a 7-0 lead in the first quarter after Lydia Crook adds the extra point. Now we'll skip ahead to the last play of the first quarter. Liberty with the ball. Isaac Adkins tosses to Ryan Sims. Sims makes one guy miss and takes it 34 yards to the end zone. Liberty leads 8-7 after the two-point conversion. To the second quarter now, Caleb Bauer takes another handoff, gets to the edge, and finally turns upfield, throws out a stiff arm, and finally runs out of bounds at about the 4-yard line. He would score on the very next play. East goes on to win this one 40-27. They make it back to the state playoffs for the first time since 2014. In fact, one organization is bringing veterans together on the golf course, and their national championship was actually held right here in southern West Virginia. The Veteran Golfers Association was founded in 2014 by a group of veterans that met at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. They each sustained some injuries during their respective deployments, and golf was a therapeutic way for them to bond with each other while recovering from their service.
Over time, we felt like there was more veterans out there that wanted to connect with the game of golf.
The transition from active duty to civilian life can be really hard on some veterans, and the VGA is here to provide support and maybe a relaxing few hours on the course with some new friends.
Anyone who's been in combat and goes through firefights or indirect fire, any of that stuff, you know, there's an adrenaline rush that goes with that. And I think when you come back home, I think a lot of veterans, you know, including myself, struggle to feel that again. And golf's a way where I can just kind of relax and not think about work or think about anything, but just go make some swings. Hopefully they're good, and check out for a few hours.
Now in their 5th year, the organization is made up of over 7,000 members from all different ages, races, and military ranks. And every year they compete for a national championship, but they never forget their original mission.
But the spirit of this organization is more about camaraderie, to get people out, especially the veterans out there that might be struggling, to get them out on the golf course, meet some new friends. One of the biggest statistics that I am proud of is that over the last 5 years, we haven't lost one VGA member to suicide, and the national rate is 22 veteran suicides per day, and so we're very proud of that.
And the VGA has something for everyone. Obviously, some competitive golf for the better players, but also groups that just focus on having fun and maybe working through some of the problems that these veterans face on a day-to-day basis.
Playing with vets is what makes the VGA great. There's tons of problems that veterans have, from suicide rates and, you know, mental issues as well as disabilities, and the VGA is just an outlet. We can go and play golf and kind of forget.
Being in the wounded vet division, it's, you know, my injuries are very minor compared to what you know, some of the other wounded vets have to go through. So it's just a pleasure. You know, I played with Adam Napier today, and just talking about different places he was in Afghanistan and I was, and made a 6-hour round actually feel like a 4-hour round maybe. But yeah, I can't say enough about the wounded vets, and I've met a lot of great people through the VGA.
The VGA has different divisions for players, including a division for family members of veterans, and you can visit their website for more information on how to sign up. Welcome back. The West Virginia Miners are gearing up for another season at Linda K. Epling Stadium in Beckley, but this year will be a little different. If you've gone to a West Virginia Miners game, you might have seen him. Tim Epling has been the skipper for the West Virginia Miners' entire 9 seasons dating back to 2010. But this year will be a little different. Tim has stepped aside to focus on something much more spiritual with his wife Diane.
I've had this desire to help leaders for 12 years and had this vision for Destiny Ministries. And then Tim and I met, and he has a similar desire for ministries and leaders, and we brought the vision together.
Tim has always made baseball an important part of his life. From playing to coaching, he's given a lot of time to the game, but he says his faith has always been a huge part of who he is as a person.
I'd always been in ministry to a certain degree, and I've always had God behind me, whether it was in baseball, church, or whatever. And so my passion's always been to help leaders.
And just like bringing fans out to the ballpark for a fun afternoon, Tim and Diane are now focused on bringing the community together through Christ.
That's one of the main components of what we are going to do with Destiny Ministries, is bring those people together, just like at the baseball stadium. I mean, think about it. We brought baseball to help kids and community come together with business and just have an enjoyable time. Well, we're going to do that same concept. God has called us to do the same concept with the church.
Destiny Ministries is still in its infancy, but Diane says she's already seen a great response from the community. Ultimately, her goal is to bring people from all backgrounds, all walks of life, and even different denominations. Bring those people together under one roof.
That's the unity that we're talking about, is bringing this ministry and this church and that church. It doesn't matter what denomination you are. Just come in and let's all be under one roof and celebrate God.
When starting a new ministry, a key element is location. And thanks to the West Virginia Miners and the Upper Deck Training Center, they are ready to step up to the plate.
Here in the indoor facility that we have here, that's one component. The other one is the stadium. And we're literally going to watch the stadium grow at a capacity to bring people and leaders from all over the country, even overseas, that are going to be coming to Beckley, and it's going to be a faith hub.
With Tim and Diane launching this project, it leaves a question mark for the Miners. Who is going to lead the team back to the Prospect League Championship?
I hired Mike Surratt, who played for us for 2 years, and he was my assistant coach last year. And Mike pitched in the championship team in 2016.
And Tim says he has nothing but faith in Surratt and the players to be successful.
And success is where, when you allow God to direct your moves, and Mike is a part of that movement, So I have no doubt that our team is going to be in great hands.
The West Virginia Miners begin their 2019 season with a home opener on Thursday, May 30th against the Lafayette Aviators. And as for Destiny Ministries, you can check out their website or their Facebook page for any upcoming events. This week on Par 59, we head out to the Greenbrier Resort to discuss their new partnership with TrueSpec Golf, a club fitting company based out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, we're about to head into a long holiday weekend, and I'm sure a few of you have plans to hit the fairways, but that's exactly my problem, hitting the fairway. Of course, maybe I could use a little bit more time on the driving range, but my problem may just be the clubs that I'm using. Let's find out.
And so who are we? We're a custom club fitting company. We operate 24 locations now around the world, and this is our most recent opening.
TrueSpec Golf just launched their newest custom club fitting location in White Sulphur Springs at the Golf Academy at the Greenbrier Resort. If you make the trip out there, you'll be working with Jake Owen. No, not that Jake Owen. This Jake Owen, and you can book a session with him where you'll get a full swing analysis and maybe a look at some new clubs.
So we're going to see how they swing, we're going to see what kind of tendencies they have with their swing, we're going to see how their equipment performs. They may already have the best equipment, and it may be something as simple as a loft and lie adjustment. Aside from that, if it's not the best equipment, we're going to test out everything, every manufacturer from Callaway, TaylorMade, Titleist, and see which one is going to give you the best performance based off the needs and the specifications of your swing.
Maybe get a little love from them as well. Feel free to hand that out.
Is that typical? That's typical.
That was a good shot from you. It's not going to have any rollout.
Okay. What we're going to try to get with you is the launch down some and just get a more consistent launch. What's happening right now is your shaft's just a little too lightweight.
Done.
160 ball speed. So that ball speed is 4 miles an hour faster than yours right now? 3 miles an hour faster than yours?
Done.
Yardage 269, total 296 with 2200 spin. So that's the Epic Flash. That's one of the stiffest shafts that we can put in your hands.
Of the retail
very,
shafts we have available, that's the lowest ball flight with the lowest spin.
So now it's back to the range with Billy Winters at the Greenbrier, and hopefully I can get the rest of my game to match my new driving capabilities.
So working with Billy's great. He's an awesome instructor. Love working with him. I love it whenever he's able to be a part of the fitting. That way we know what he's working on with the player, trying to get them into what he's working on with the instruction side. That way whenever we're doing the fitting, we can actually gear it towards that to make sure that the player is going to get what they need and it's going to achieve the goal whenever he finishes and gets them to the goal that he wants them to.